Hello, good morning, social media friends. Welcome to this fall episode of Real Living in Bridgeport. If you are tuning in to this episode as a live stream or as an on-demand recording today, welcome to you. Just to give you a snapshot of what my co-host Warren and I share with you, we share with you some critical things that make your potential living, unless you're already living in Bridgeport, maybe a little bit more interesting. We drop some real estate news, our perspectives on what is going on with the business of real estate right there, right here in the community and neighborhood of Bridgeport. And then along the way, we try to make it kind of interesting for you as well, because in today's episode, we are going to be dropping some what we call don't do these things, people. So let's lead into our conversation today. Let me bring in my co-host, Warren Wu, into the conversation. Hello, Warren. How are you today?
Hi, Bill. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And as I said to everyone, happy fall, right?
Right. It's getting chilly.
Yeah, before we get into the meat and the core of our conversation, got to ask you this first question. What is it that you and your family like to do once we move into the fall season? Are you guys one of those families that love to go like apple picking, pumpkin picking? What do you guys like to do?
Just like you said, we do like apple picking and pumpkin picking. Like we go to pumpkin farms and apple farms.
Yeah.
In the fall, yeah.
Yeah. So you get out of the urban jungle into the suburban areas.
Yes.
Love that. Love that. My next question is, because we are literally within 3 weeks of the spooky holiday, Halloween, my first question to you is, what candy do you go look for when you have to go trick-or-treating, Warren?
I don't go trick-or-treating.
You don't go trick-or-treating?
I go trick-or-treating with the kids, but usually the kids are happy with just any type of candy or chocolate.
Okay. But my question to you, and only you, is, okay, your kids are your gatherers of candy, and as they gather it, which of the candy do you personally prefer?
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat. Yes, me too. Me too. Do you like the milk chocolate Kit Kat or the dark chocolate?
I mean, I like the white chocolate, and then
You
also
like
the matcha, the matcha one too.
The matcha, yeah. We see that in a lot of our cultural neighborhoods, right? Matcha this, matcha that.
Yeah. The Asian supermarkets, they sell those like matcha Kit Kats. Those are actually pretty good.
Okay, all right. I personally prefer, like you, Kit Kats, but I prefer the dark chocolate as opposed to the milk chocolate. You know why? It's not as sweet.
Right.
Even though you're still getting tons of sugar, right?
Yes. It's still bad for your health.
It's still bad for you if you eat too much of it. All right. So we've set the tone now, got some of the fun humor out of the way. For all of you social media friends watching this episode, we love to hear from you. What is your favorite candy when you are either personally going trick-or-treating or when your kids are doing the heavy lifting for you, but then you pilfer through their bag or bowl and like, oh, I'm going to get all of the Kit Kats. Share with us, what is your candy preference? All right, Warren, let's now lead into the thing that you do each and every day, that is helping sellers and buyers with their real estate next steps. What is going on in the neighborhood of Bridgeport as far as the market is concerned right now?
So Bridgeport in Chicago, the market has been very strong. Like there's high demands, but still low on supply side. Like things are under like 400 gets under contract within a week.
Wow. Okay. And that is regardless of property type, whether it's condo, townhome, single family, or multi-unit, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
That-
everything's been going pretty fast. Just the higher price point, people are still like holding back, possibly waiting for rates to lower even a little bit more.
well, I'm going to do a mic drop here. Rates actually have not been improving as fast as all of us consumers expected as of today. By the way, this comment is as of today, as of this morning, Friday, October 4th. Why? Because bada bing, bada boom, here we go. Today, the jobs report came out to bust out of the market, and when good news happens like that, it's a oxymoron. It doesn't bode well for the mortgage market and therefore mortgage rates. But people just just be patient, stay true to what will eventually happen. It'll just be a matter of time. All right, let's now talk about one topic that I know you and I could probably spend an hour talking about and laugh a lot along the way. But we're going to try to keep ourselves professional. So let's lean in and talk about what we're going to share today. And that is for all of you audience members who are potential sellers, what Warren and I are going to talk about are don't do these things. Do not do these things. So Warren, you want to lead off with your favorite sellers. Don't do this thing.
Right. Okay. So first thing that I usually recommend selling the house is don't get too emotionally attached when you're selling it, because depending on how long you stay, some of them stayed there for like 10, 20 years, 20, like 10 plus years. They have developed this emotion. So when they're selling it, they're like thinking the home is like the best thing ever. Like they would not like do minor works for it. Or like when people say that, like they don't like this or that, like when the buyers say something that they don't like this or that, like the sellers feel a little bit offended.
Yeah,
especially
I know.
when they're doing the showings in place.
Yeah. What's another one of don't do this, seller? What's a common one?
Staying at the open house, like when you're having an open house, you kind of pretend to be like a buyer, walking in, seeing the reaction.
Yeah, and then you pop out, you bomb them in the conversation with like, no, I didn't, no, you misunderstood, right? Don't do that,
Right.
sellers. That's annoying. That's annoying. And along that topic, I'm gonna drop in a real life story here with you, Warren. I know this one is gonna make you laugh. And audience members, this one is all for you. I have a feeling this will make you chuckle a little bit as well. So this is again all for you. So here's my story. Many years ago, when my wife and I went to look at properties because we were in market, we were making a move, we had a private showing scheduled on this subject property. Okay. And by the way, Warren, it was a Saturday morning, which is very common, right? You agree? Okay. So when we approached the property, our broker, worked their magic with getting access. They punched in the code to the fancy lock that you guys use to protect the property and so forth. And as soon as the lock was unlocked, the door was open. Of course, the broker said, "Hello, anyone here? We have a showing," and no response. So we thought, okay, let's proceed in. As soon as we walked in, this couple comes running down the stairs in nothing more than, you're gonna laugh here, their effing underwear. It was not only embarrassing for us, I can only imagine It was embarrassing for them. So little do I say, we didn't stay very long at that open house. Why? Because it was an appointment that just went bust. And if you're going to ask me, Bill, did you even consider that property for rescheduling another showing, or did you buy it? The answer is hell no. So anyway, people, don't stick around for open houses and showings. It's annoying. It's annoying. What's another one?
Another one is that if you're thinking about selling your house, don't personalize it too much.
Yeah.
Great example, Michael Jordan's house. It was too personalized, and it's been on the market for so long, so many years before it could sell.
And eventually it did sell, but I mean, it didn't sell for a whole lot of, it didn't sell for more money than he had hoped for, right?
Right. He lost like money on it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you. If you had that kind of money, would you buy a home with a big 23 gate that leads up to the front door, Warren?
No. Unless I love Michael Jordan that much.
Right. Well, and not to mention, even if many of us do love Michael Jordan, we hold him in high regard. Come on. No one else can be number 23, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm right there with you. Let me lean in and add this to it. Don't personalize the home that you're selling, sellers, too much, such as, come on, don't do anything stupid like put up political stuff. You're going to turn off half of the people who might be interested in looking at and buying the property. Or don't throw down any type of stuff that can be anti some culture, because you're going to turn people off, right? All right. Let me lean in and drop the most obvious. Sellers, don't do this. Because right now, I got way too many stories that really support this one. Don't price your home too high because you're too effing greedy, right?
Right.
Now, Warren, I got to ask you the question. When you engage with a seller, and whether it be in the first conversation or it leads to the second conversation or the meeting, what do you do when seller John Doe says, Warren, for my Bridgeport home, I want 7 figures, and you already know, like, the market isn't supporting that. What do you do?
I try to show them the CMA. If they don't listen, I mean, there's nothing much I could do. Either I drop the client or I just list it for that price. And then if there's no showing, and then just show him the data. Say, see, if we were priced correctly, we would have at least 1 or 2 showings. But we barely have any showings for like a week or 2.
Right. And that's assuming all of the sellers don't do this stuff. They actually didn't do this stuff or those stuff. They followed your lead. But this last one, yes, they just were too stubborn with what I call the number as part of their figment of imagination.
Right.
All right. And I love to hear you say that, if it doesn't make sense, you just politely disengage from the opportunity, because there's no benefit for you, right? Sweating it out with a seller, and you're trying to help them sell their property, but then, they're not following your lead, and there's no activity and or no offers. That's the dangerous part.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's now move to the other side of the table. So what's on the other side of the table? Buyers. We're going to talk about the don't do these things for you who may be potential buyers. So let's now lean in and let's address the buyers. Don't do this stuff. And that's you, buyers, you. So you want to lead off with one of your favorite ones, like buyers don't do this.
Don't deposit large amount of cash from an unknown source when you're trying to get a loan.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I completely agree with you. It's one of the most annoying things. And on top of it, what's more annoying is after they do it, when your chosen lender is asking you questions about it, they claim I don't know anything about it. or they don't help you help them, which is, we got to get past sourcing large deposits of money. Every lender has to do that. It's called compliance, so that we're following what we call money laundering compliance rules. So you got to show the stuff. Otherwise, do it early so that it's not a part of the equation when you're under contract, when you're in process, or move the money into an account that we don't need to source. That's my tip for all of you buyers with that. Don't do this. What's another one, Warren?
Don't buy like expensive stuff, like a car or like expensive bags, or like basically increasing your debt.
Bingo.
During the time of the loan, like during underwriting.
So true. And the reason why, Warren, you've been in this business long enough, you've heard these stories from me, from other lenders, I am certain. And the reason why we share this with you buyers, don't do this, right? Don't go out and open up new credit accounts, charge something out the yin yang. Why? Because here's the mic drop. When you're in process of sourcing financing, your lender has you under a microscope. Anything and everything that you do gets red alert. The bell gets rung. We're going to hit you up and say, what the hell did you just do? All right. What is the third one? I'm going to give you a tip. This one I'm certain is a favorite, because I can only imagine it's happened to me and it's happened to you. And that is, buyers, don't do this. Don't write an offer on a property if you're not ready. Do you agree?
I completely agree. Like,
what's the consequence of that?
You waste your time. You waste everyone. Basically, you waste like the seller's time. You waste everyone else's time.
Yep. Not to mention, here's the dangerous part. You write an offer on a subject property. You're like on the fence. I'm painting the picture. You're now in the so-called due diligence attorney inspection review period. Time's a ticking. You now have to do that home inspection, and you're thinking, well, I'll just keep extending it. Well, the more you do that, it's going to create red flags. And eventually, if you can't make up your mind and you're like, oh, hell, I'll just do the home inspection. Well, people, buyers, you just spent money on a property that you were probably not that enamored to buy, right?
Yes. And inspection is not like cheap either. It's like a few $100s at least.
That's right. And for those of you buyers who are not working with a conscientious lender, also do know this. If a lender is not in sync with you, is not in communication with you, and they order an appraisal that you haphazardly pay for, well, same thing. You spent another round of money on a property that you were kind of like wishy-washy to buy. So don't do this stuff, right? Get serious. When and if your team of service providers like Warren and myself are having our conversations with you, and we're kind of like waking you up to the reality of, here's the next step, you got to be prepared. Prepared. Yeah. All right. So for today's episode of Real Living in Bridgeport, hopefully you have enjoyed some of the serious content that we shared with you today, but also maybe some of the funny stuff that we dropped for you as well, which can be undoubtedly helpful to you. So when and if you may be selling real estate in the neighborhood of Bridgeport, South Loop, or Chicago, and or if you need financing along the way, how can you reach out to Warren and myself so that we can remind you of the things that you shouldn't do, because it is for your own good. All you need to do is simply scan the QR codes here. Warren and I will gladly start a conversation with you to help you get to the next chapter of your life event. So, Warren, as we wrap up today, I hope you have a great Friday. Yes, fall is here. The sun is going to peek out this afternoon, according to the weather people.
Right.
All right, that's it for now. Let me ask my music posse to move us out of this episode until Warren and I see you in the next one.